everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. And today I'm going to be reviewing ITV's The Sound of Music Live. So this production has been floating around in my brain for the past few days. I believe it aired in the US the other day, and many of my online Sound of Music friends who are in the US sat down to watch it, so there's been a lot of talk about it online. Back in June or July, end of June, early July, I made a video where I reviewed NBC's Sound of Music Live, the one with Carrie Underwood. Click the card if you want to watch it. So today I'm going to be reviewing the ITV Live one, which is the one from the UK, and probably my favourite musical version ever. Not that I have seen all that many. I actually mentioned that in my video last week. I actually ended up making a lot more notes for the NBC Live review, so this one might be a bit shorter. When I did my NBC review, I talked about it all in sections, and I'm going to do much the same here. So let's get started. It is a slightly more condensed version than is usual for the musical. Some of the smaller scenes and a few lines here and there have been cut out. NBC didn't do that. But that really doesn't make that much difference. I don't think you'd even notice it unless you were like me and you know every single line, so you know what you're missing. Actually, I don't know every single line of the musical. I know every single line of the movie, but not the musical. But I know most, so I knew what was supposed to be in there. But aside from one singular line, which I love just because it's so funny, I didn't mind having any bits cut out. I didn't even really mind having that bit cut out. I just wanted to mention it. And sometimes the bits that they cut work to the show's advantage. For example, when Hazel's at the villa screaming for them to sing to him, they just cut to a commercial. In NBC Live and in pretty much every stage version, they have to do an immediate transition to the festival. But here they don't have to, and it makes it seem less like a stage show and more like a film. And I think that's more cohesive. The show also starts with a bit of a montage through Salzburg. Nothing like in the film, but it does set it up. There's also some footage from the actual Angelus that they play right after the wedding, which again works very well. Let's talk about the acting. And right off the bat, it is so much better than NBC Live. For example, not everybody is acting like they're a teenager, and there are actually pauses when there need to be pauses, giving across more emotion. If you watch my NBC Live review, you'll know that was one of my biggest critiques of the acting. I don't know about everybody in the cast, but Cara Toynton, I think I'm saying that right, who plays our lovely Maria, definitely is an actor. I think most of the others are too. I believe Captain Von Trapp was in Downton Abbey, and the guy who plays Max is the host of Pointless. But because Cara's an actress, that automatically gives her a leg up over Carrie, which automatically makes the whole thing more interesting. Maria really is the central role in this story, and if you can't do her well, then you probably need to make up for it with everything else. But Cara's brilliant, especially here.
Oh, children, tell you right, Martha, I missed you so very much.
That is not in the script, it was a complete accident, and she handled it perfectly. And hats off to the little girl for just getting up and getting on with it. I said in my NBC review that the argument scene was the scene that Carrie did best. And obviously Cara's doing everything very well and much better than Carrie. But the argument is a really important scene in the story. She does it very well, and like Carrie, she does it in her own way, which is different again from Carrie's, and different from Julie's in the movie. In the movie, she's just outright furious, and in NBC, Carrie takes the approach of being really sad at the captain and for the children. Cara is more of a pissed off version, so a more, for God's sakes, how can you not see this approach? And everyone else is very good too. As I said, they actually pause when they need to. Max and Elsa are just brilliant. I don't know if I can really articulate what it is about them that's great, but they are. I think together they just make the perfect dynamic that you need Elsa and Max, especially in the musical. And during Nowhere to Stop It, they're doing a bit of a dance number, which is very amusing. And on that note, let's talk about the songs for a bit. As I said, they cut out some of the dialogue here and there, and they do cut out a bit of the songs here and there. The biggest example of this is No Way to Stop It. The last third, I'd say, the part that Georg sings is completely cut. But at the same time, they do a few things here and there in the songs that I have never seen anywhere else, and I absolutely love, particularly during the festival. I've never seen that anywhere else, and I love it. I think they also did Edelweiss really well. Obviously in the film, when Georg gets all choked up, Maria comes out and sings with him. And she does the same thing here, except she goes back. So she comes out for a bit to make sure he's okay, and once she realises he is okay, she goes back into the wings, which I think is very cool. Also, during the opening song, that being The Sound of Music, she actually walks into the Abbey halfway through. So she sings the last verse inside the Abbey, which is interesting because how can she be that late when she's already there? But I don't care at all. And now I think it's time to talk about the sets and the costumes. Now, as you've probably noticed, this production has a very different look. It looks completely different from any other production of musical I have seen ever. And truth be told, that's one of the things I love the most about it. So both of these really make me wonder sometimes. But we'll start with the costumes. And we'll start with the confusing bits of the costumes. So we all know how the story goes. When she first gets the villa, the captain says her dress is horrible and that she'll need to put on another one, and Chief says she doesn't have another one. But in this version, it looks like she might. The outfit she wears during the opening scene is not the same outfit she wears when she comes to the Reverend Mother's office, and they sing My Favourite Things together. So you have another dress. I really don't imagine that the Abbey would allow their postulants to have two separate dresses, even if they are both postulants' outfits. And even if they do, you've still got two dresses. So, what? Oh well, the ugly dress isn't that ugly. They also only put Kara's hair up after the wedding, the whole time before it's down in that long plait behind her back, and this is exactly what needed to happen with Carrie. But the costumes were a really big problem in the NBC one. But in NBC, for the whole of Act 1, she's got her hair up, and Act 2, she's got it down. It's so much better to do it the way ITV did, which really enhances the butterfly moment, that of course being the wedding. All the other costumes are really good. Max in particular, he just looks perfect. It really reminds me of the outfit he wears in the film, and that really is perfect. And yeah, they only have them in dirndls for the festival, but NBC Live is actually the odd one out here for that, so... And now let's talk about the sets. And actually, there's really only one set that I really want to mention. And that's not because it's bad, it's just confusing to me. And that would be the Reverend Mother's office. It isn't really an office. It's just this sort of space in the middle of the set of the Abbey. Doesn't really look much like an office to me, which is fine. This production is obviously very different aesthetically. But said set also doubles for the wedding. And I don't just mean the Abbey, I mean that exact space in the set of the Abbey also doubles as the wedding. And that's what really confuses me. But everything else is very good. I feel like this production just reads English. I love how different it is because it still works, even though it is different. Hey, it's different enough that Kara's the visual for one of my OCs in my fanfiction. Link to my profile in the down below. Please leave me a review. So, all that's left are two tiny little minute details. There's a bit in How Can Love Survive. Max and Elsa and Georg are all hanging around outside. There's a bit when Elsa and Georg are walking around and they have servants walking right behind them holding parasols over them to keep the sun off. And because they're walking around, they don't always end up in the same place they started as, so the servants are carrying the chairs around from one location to the other so they can sit down. I'm sorry, I just think that feels way too excessive, even for Elsa. There's also this bit at the wedding, when Georg pulls the veil back from Maria's face. He gives her this smile, and creepy's not really the right word, but it just seems like a smile you would give your daughter as you're giving her away, rather than the one you'd give your bride. Not that I am an expert in any of this, and I'm so far down the fanfiction rabbit hole that, I don't know, I expect something different, I guess. But I just had to point it out. And that's everything for the review. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this production. It's awesome. You really should watch it. It's different, and I'd say that's reason enough to at least give it a try. It's available on DVD, and I'll leave a link to that in the down below. If you have seen it, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!